Hello and welcome everybody. This is Daniel here from Life Hacks for Expats, and I have the honor today of having a special guest speaker. I actually have with me Peter Redreen. Peter is an entrepreneur and has built up an incredible business within the expat community, which we'll hear a little bit more about. But before that, I just want to hear a little bit more, who really is Peter? He's been an expat that's living right now in Mallorca. He's been an expat for really 25 years on and off. So Peter, can you share with us a little bit more, where are you from? What made you decide to move abroad? And yeah, we'll start from there.
Yeah, hi Daniel. Very nice to be on your show here on Life Hacks for Expats. Well, I mean, the story is so long, so I don't know really where to begin. But I actually ended up almost by accident. I ended up in Gran Canaria around October 1991, and I kind of liked not being in cold Sweden and having something funnier to do than normal work. And I started to work in the entertainment industry there. For the tourists, and I really loved it. And I met a guy called Richard from England, and we started to make events together. And we started a little bit of an event company, doing our own events for the tourists and selling tickets and having a really good time with it, actually. And when the season stopped there in Gran Canaria after Easter, so now we are in the end of April '92, we said, where are we going to go now and do the same thing? And I said, well, I know there's a lot of Scandinavian tourists going to Mallorca, so let's go there and have a look. So we packed our bag and flew to Mallorca by chance, not knowing where we were going, really. And the story there is actually quite amazing for me anyway. I get kind of goosebumps every time I tell this, because it was raining like you can never believe in Mallorca when we came there, and just in the turn of becoming May, and it was bad weather, and we were thinking after a few days, why the hell did we go here? Let's go back to Gran Canaria where the sun always shining. And then we got a few tips to go up in the north to a place called Alcudia, which is quite famous among the Scandinavian tourists around here. And we went up there, and then I learned to know something about Mallorca. If it's raining in the south, it's sunny in the north. If it's sunny if it's raining in the north, it's sunny in the south. So actually, the weather became better when we drove up with the rent-a-car, and actually, when we stepped out on the beach, which is quite beautiful in Alcudia, actually. The sun came through the clouds in like a magical moment. And we were just standing there staring at the turquoise water and this big beach. And I said to my friend, I'm staying here. I don't care what you do, but I'm going to stay here. So a few days later, I started to get the feeling that Mallorca became a feeling of home. I mean, my father is Bulgarian, and he defected 1963 to Sweden during the communist years. And I was very early kind of half immigrant kid, so I never felt really at home in Sweden, and suddenly I felt home there in Mallorca. I was just 24 years old or something like that, and I decided to stay, so I stayed. Wow. And it's been Mallorca for me all the time, either as first home or second home, these 25 years that's passed now. And nowadays I'm very, very well rooted here. I'm married to a Scottish wife, and we have a great time. We've just bought a new house, and yeah, it's brilliant. And now, since MyExpatsWorld has become this huge global phenomenon now, and I'm sitting here in our global head office in Mallorca. We are a group of staff here. We have a subsidiary office in Malaga, and we are growing like hell. It's almost 1,000 new people connecting themselves to MyExpatsWorld every week.
Wow. That's quite a little bit more about MyExpatsWorld. I mean, what is it? Who can anybody join? What's the benefit of people being a part of it?
Well, I started this organization under another name. We called it just the Expats Club, or International Expats Club, here in Mallorca. That was 4.5 years ago when we had our first event. And we started to, like anybody, a lot of people have started local expats clubs of some sorts for their people from their nation there in where they are, and they are having some meetups and events. It's very common, so I was doing the same. It's just that I had this stupid entrepreneurial idea. I want to make everything global and big, and make it fantastic, So the funny thing is that after a while here in Mallorca, we were doing this expats club meetings and started a homepage and Facebook groups and Facebook page and whatever have you. as you do, people started to contact me from other places around the world saying, oh, we heard about the Expats Club. Where is the meetings in Paris, where I live, or in Los Angeles, where I live, and in Marbella, where I live? I was like, well, we're just in Mallorca, actually. And they were like, why? Start the same thing here. It sounds great, you know. So actually, the second year, we started our operations in Marbella, Paris, Los Angeles, and Stockholm just for trials, and Singapore, because I was being me, you know, like I have to try the global scenario and see how it works. And the funny thing is, it worked much better in those places than in Mallorca. I mean, Mallorca is a small island in the middle of the sea, you know, where people are kind of having some kind of Jamaican feeling about why they're here. You know, it's like very manana. And in big city areas, it's a different kind of people. You know, the expats in Stockholm or Los Angeles and Paris or Amsterdam or Barcelona, Madrid is totally different from the people who are in Marbella or in Mallorca, which is kind of tourist resorts, actually. So, of course, we saw that big city people were even more interested about our concept than people who were having a nice time in the sun somewhere in the world, you know. So the decision was made, well, that's like 3 years ago now, to go global. So we opened up 54 cities around the world, which was the largest expats cities that we could find, and Facebook group for every city, Facebook page for every city, you know, city pages on the web page, and events everywhere, and it was going totally crazy. And that was about the time I realized there was another company doing the same. Intonations is a very good organization for events, and they've been doing a great job for many years, 8 years longer than us. And I was a little bit observing what they were doing, and I was realizing there's something strange going on. At that point, and this was last year, in the spring last year, we were doing all these events. I was having paid people here managing events. It was a hell of a lot of work and cost me a lot of money to do. And we saw that it was only like 1% of our members in all these cities that were interested going to events. And I was in my bed one night thinking, what the hell are we going to do with the other 99% of the people who don't want to go on events? So that was the project start of what we have today. So now we're called MyExpatsWorld, and from December into January, February, March, and now we are in the beginning of April, we've been spending a lot of time and money building our online platform, which is now ready to go, which is fantastic. So now we have the mobile app ready. You can download on Android today. Next week, we're going to be out on App Store as well for everybody with an iPhone and whatever have you. So with all the buttons you need, we have a magazine to read, which is monthly issued, an online magazine. You read it through your phone or tablet or computer. We have a news blog, which we tomorrow starts with a lot of daily content. So you can actually visit our news blog every morning to read the expats related morning news. And we started our TV channel and our radio station, which is great. So, and you find everything now on the web page, and it's all for free.
That's amazing. That's amazing. No, it's just it's so funny because I came across your company through your Facebook groups, actually, so which I found very, very useful, and it's just so amazing to hear that you're putting this all together and for so many cities around the world. And I mean, tell us a little bit more about statistics. I mean, how many expats are there in the world today? I mean,
well, the latest, I actually read a BBC article about this for a few days ago, that we passed 55 million, and they are saying that by 2020 there will be over 60 million kind of registered expats around the world. I mean, expats is from all international nations. I mean, some people ask me, oh, are you only for British people? I said, no, we are for everybody. You know, in Stockholm, we are about everybody who's not Swedish living in Stockholm. In Los Angeles, we are in contact with everybody who's not American living in Los Angeles, and so on and so forth. So it's almost like we are becoming some mini UN organization for expats, you know. I remember the last event we had, we actually counted and we had 32 nationalities of people in one event. That's quite cool. It was over 180 people on it. But so it is interesting. So I mean, some people actually ask me, what do you mean when you say expat? I mean, the term is quite simple. You know, you made a deliberate choice to move from your home country to another country and pay tax in that other country. That's when you become an expat. So here in Mallorca, for instance, there are loads of people having nice houses and apartments that they own, but they don't spend more than 3-4 months a year here, and they have the car here and everything, but they are not tax written in Spain, so they are actually not expats. They are kind of holiday tourists for us. So it means that you moved actually abroad, and you have your taxation written in a new country.
Brilliant, brilliant. So with that, with having worked with all these expats, having been an expat yourself, I mean, what would you say to somebody who's just moving to a new place? Like, what would be some of their the biggest tips that you can give to them?
Well, I feel kind of biased because the first answer would be, well, go to myexpatsworld.com and register for a subscription so you can follow all the news. And it's actually another thing we are doing. I mean, we have companies advertising in our channels and sponsoring our operation, and they do it for two reasons. One is that we give them a lot of clients from the expat community, but the other reason is that we tell them we need your help, because we are helping a lot of expats, because there's so many expats moving out for the first time, or maybe moving to a new place, and they have questions, and we tell them we have a hotline. Go to our webpage, chat in our live chat, sign up the form, and we'll contact you and we'll help you. So we help people all over the world with all their questions, and they are coming from all over the world, and they are in all kinds of directions. We've been helping people find lost relatives in Spain. We've been helping people with legal problems. We've been helping people who don't know how to get their visa, whatever it is. And we are connected with all kinds of advisory companies, everything from pensions and financial advisory to legal advice, or for visa applications or whatever have you. So we are kind of the Expat Central online, and we are here to help. And now with the TV and radio, we're here to entertain as well, which is quite cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Sorry, I'm going to ask something which has not to do with my business. I think another thing to do is to connect with Internations, actually, because they have a big pile of events going on in most big cities around the world, and that's a good way to go to some good events and meet some new people. You don't need to meet 100 people, but at least get a few local friends, who are expats as well, been there longer than you or whatever, and that's a good idea. And then from there on, you get your life spinning, as an expat.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, that's what I always say. I always say, like, go to the events, whether it's through Meetup, Internations, or through Facebook groups and so on. You're going to find events to connect to, and then when you go to those events, you'll meet 1 or 2 or 3 key people that will then give you so many good ideas for that local location. So
yeah, correct.
Brilliant. Excellent. Thank you so much. Also, I'm just kind of curious, because obviously being an entrepreneur myself, I just want to hear. Obviously, you've been an entrepreneur your whole life. What is it that really drives you? Do you have any people that really inspire you as entrepreneurs, or any kind of mentors or anything?
Well, actually, it's interesting that you mentioned this, because the reason why I'm sitting in Mallorca running a global operation in this magnitude that we are doing from here is that I met with Richard Branson in Stockholm for many years ago. I think it was 8 or 9 years ago. I had a consultant business in Stockholm that I was running, and I was fortunate enough to manage to get a meeting with him when he was in town, since I've been, everybody have their idols, and of course, as an entrepreneur, he's been one of them. And he told me 2 things that really made my mind spin at that point, because he told me, in one hand, he said, "Peter, never forget this. If you start a small restaurant in your hometown as an entrepreneur, you will probably be working 12 to 14 hours a day to make that work. If you start a global company as an entrepreneur, you will probably work 12 to 14 hours to make that work. So it's actually the same working hours. So you might as well start something global."
That's brilliant. I love that. I always say to people, if you're gonna, whatever you do, you're gonna work hard, right?
Yeah.
And if you learn how to leverage yourself, just like what you're doing here, leveraging yourself throughout the whole world, that's going to give much, much bigger returns long term, of course.
Yeah, and using the power of internet today, we've been growing we have soon over 130 registered members, and with their help, we'll reach out to over 1.3 million expats already. And on Wednesday, we start to spend the first marketing money in the history of MyExpatsWorld.
Wow, that's amazing.
So we've been growing.
Very exciting times, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. And the second thing that Richard told me when I had this coffee meeting with him in Grand Hotel in Stockholm was that it's too hard to be an entrepreneur, so you need to do something you really love to do. You need to wake up 5 o'clock in the morning excited to do what you're supposed to do this day, And if you work with something else, it's not going to work. It's too tough and too hard, and all the hours and all the people and taking responsibility for families as employed people, all the costs, taxes, whatever have you. It's too much hard work and too much responsibility if you're working with something you don't love to do. So those 2 advice, and actually the third advice came from Ingvar Kamprad, which is the founder of IKEA. And I read his book for a few years ago, and in the end there is a chapter where the journalist who wrote the book just put him to some questions, and he just put his answers. And one of those questions were, if you have one advice to give all people who would like to start a company by themselves, what would that be? And he said, well, find a business area where there is loads of suppliers and loads of clients buying the service or product already, and then start a company there and do everything a little bit better and a little bit cheaper. That's what I did. The furniture business is as old as whatever, somebody put a stone and sat on it, for millions of years ago, and that was the first chair, So I mean, he took the furniture business where there were loads of furniture companies selling furniture and loads of people buying furniture, and he just made something a little bit better and a little bit cheaper than everybody else.
Amazing.
So that's what we are doing as well. There's loads of expats things going on the internet. There's a lot of pages, web pages, a lot of groups everywhere. So there's no lack of that. But there's no one else who is helping expats all over the world. There's no one else who has a TV, radio station, a monthly glossy magazine going out to over 1.3 million people, and the news blog that you can read every morning. So we just try to do something which is good for people, which people are actually asking for, and we give it to them for free. That's very difficult to compete with, actually. So we are 100% sponsored by companies investing their time and money as advertisers and sponsors to us. That's where the money comes from, so we can do this. And we will never charge any member or any reader or any listener or anything for anything, because that's who we are, and that's what we're gonna do.
That's amazing. No, thank you so much. Would it be possible to maybe have you come back and share a little bit how the whole business is growing as you're launching this Wednesday and so on?
Yeah, sure. I mean, you call me anytime, Daniel. I'm here.
Oh, thank you so much, Peter. I really, really appreciate your time. It's been absolutely amazing, and giving your tips and so on. And we really look forward to it. And I hope that all of you, that we're watching this, just go and sign up. It's free, like you said. You get so much information on there that's going to help you have a better expat experience.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much. Thank you so much, Peter.
Okay. Have a good time. Speak to you soon.